Hey guys, how's everyone doing? So sorry that I haven't made a video in a while. My life has been kind of hectic. Saturday was my 6 months. Yay! So I finally made it. And for anybody who's struggling out there, please be patient with yourself and know that you can make it, because now that I've gotten to my 6 months, I feel so much better. I feel like it's half of a milestone, and you know, my confidence, my security, all these things that I felt like I was lacking, I'm finally getting back. Knowing that, you know, that I can believe in myself and that I can do this is like, it's just gotten so much easier. So please stick with it. It does get better, I promise you. And I wouldn't be lying, because trust me, I know it's a struggle and it's not easy. I bartend, so you know, it's not easy. And I do have to say, I think for me, at least for me on my end, something that's helpful is watching. Because I think maybe some people think it's fun. Like, they're looking at it and they're like, oh, they're having so much fun. But for me, it's like, you're acting like an idiot. So it's just easy for me. But also, something that I also wanted to say was, I don't know if anybody on here is watching and they're in meetings, and not even if you're in meetings and stuff like that, but if you're not being true to yourself on who you're portraying, then don't lead somebody else on. Because some of us are really out here really actually trying to live by sobriety and being clean. Because I went to a meeting on Saturday to get my chip, and it was an all women's meeting, and it was a different meeting, a new meeting. And they asked if you want a call sheet, and I said yes. And I like to reach out just to like let them know, like, hey, like, my name's Sarah, whatever. So I reached out to some of the women on the sheet, and somebody I called was drunk or high. And I just found that extremely disrespectful. And if you have any respect for, even if you don't have respect for yourself, but you have respect for other people, please don't do that. Like, it's just very rude, especially to people who are really trying. Because I know that, you know, there are people out there that still drink and get high, and they go to meetings and stuff like that. I don't really understand the logistics behind that, but that's for you, not for me. And I understand, and if that works for you, whatever works, keeps you sober or clean throughout the meeting, good for you. But just out of respect, you know, don't be putting your name on call lists for especially new people. So with that being said, I wanted to talk about self-worth. Self-worth is a huge thing, and at least for me, it stems my anxiety, my recovery, it stems everything. Like, it's just the core of who I am, and believing like who I am not, and who I, you know, and who I want to be and who I am. And you know, like, I see it in everyone. I see, like, and I'm like that person, that one friend that's always waving the flag, like, know your worth, and not just for girls, but for guys too, like, just for everyone in general. Because it's not even just like relationships, I see it in friendships. I see and I hear people talking like, well, I've been friends with this friend for however many years, and I see them allowing that friend to walk all over them. And that's, you know, not beneficial to you, because that friend now thinks that it's completely acceptable and okay for them to walk all over you. I've had friends, for instance, I had a friend that I was friends with for about 10 years. I got pregnant with Gavin, and I would confide in her a lot about my insecurity about being a mother, because I was 20 years old and I didn't really have a family background, and I didn't think that I was going to be a good parent, and this, that, and the other. And I probably did something to stem her to get so upset with me that she would say this stuff to me, but she ended up telling me that my kid would end up like being white trash like me, and that I was going to be a horrible mom, and this, that, and the other. Clearly we are not friends, but since then she's tried to come back in my life. Now, I have forgiven her for what she said, but I could never let her back in my life, because then I'm accepting that. Like, I'm accepting her to come back in my life, and I'm accepting her to talk to me like that and talk about my child, who ultimately means more to life than myself. So, you know, and that's where forgiveness comes into play, because I think a lot of us, and I know for me, like, I hold on to things and I grip everything in it, because I just think that I hold on to it because I think that forgiveness is accepting. And it's not accepting the behavior. Forgiveness is for me, and for me only. I don't even need to like go to somebody and say like, you know, I've forgiven you. Like, it's for you personally, so that you can let go. That's what it is. It's not accepting the behavior, it's letting go of the behavior. Accepting is when you're allowing somebody to come back and continue the behavior. And that's where self-worth comes into play. Because you need to know, like, that you're enough. Like, you deserve more than that. And especially in this day and age, our generation, just the things that we allow and accept and just have zero self-worth for, we really need to be stepping up and not accepting certain things and knowing our self-worth. And I'm not sure if it's like our backgrounds and things that we grow up with, but really, I mean, all of us have something, have some type of background. It's very rare that I meet people now and they're like, well, it was a white picket fence and everything was la-ti-da. Very rare. And still, it's funny, I still have seen some addicts. Like, we all have our reasonings, insecurities and self-worth is where it stems from. And it's important because we are important, and we may not be important to each other because, hey, we don't all get along. We're not all going to like one another. And that's a huge thing that I've had to learn. And that's okay. I would love to get along with everybody, but personally, like, because of the person that I am, I can't accept certain people in my life. Like, I just can't. And I just want to make sure, especially people that are in recovery, that you really get grasp on your self-worth, because it is so important, because you are worth something. And just because you're an addict, you're in recovery, like, that's something that you're going to struggle with for the rest of your life, doesn't mean by any means that you aren't worth something. You're worth staying sober for it. And the most important person that you're worth staying sober for or clean for is yourself. And that's something that you really got to know, because I know for me, like, I'm hoping that I stay and I don't relapse. But my hope is for myself, as I want nothing more than this life, because at least for me, and I hope some of you guys are coming into that and feeling it as well, like, my mind is expanding and, like, just growing so infinitely. And a lot of the things that I'm grasping now, like, I just can't imagine. I was on the phone with my friend earlier and we were just talking about one of our friends, and I was like, just in hopes that, like, she would get sober and stuff like that too, because you can just see all the things that she's hoping and wishing for, like, while she's in this drunken haze. And it's like, oh my God, if she just realized and would step out of it, like, she could see. Because, like, now I just feel like this entire weight and this lift, like, this whole light lifted on me, and it feels great. Like, I'm very, very thankful that I am where I'm at and I have who I have. And it may be really, really small group, but, like, I'm appreciative because they're definitely a really good group of people. And everyone in AA and everyone who's so supportive and stuff like that, it's great. So, just stick with it. And I hope that everybody, at least you got something from this. Because if you can even find the smallest thing about yourself to be proud about. Because there's something in you within every day that you did positive. Even if it's like, I made the best cup of coffee for myself or whatever it is. There's something small that you can benefit from each day. And that's why, like, in AA and NA, they have, like, gratitude lists. And it's important to do that because, I know for me, like, I'm extremely hard on myself, and focusing on that negative put me in a really bad hole, and just made me think that I wasn't worth anything. But, now accepting who I am as a person and getting to that acceptance, that's part of, like, my self-worth. So I hope that you guys got something from this. Please continue to watch me on my journey and like, subscribe, and share. Namaste sober, and I hope you do too.